It's affordable, durable, and designed for everyone. Well, at least that's what HMD had to say about this device. The HMD Arc is probably the most affordable device I have laid my hands on in a while by today's standard. Now, HMD claims that in this world of $1,000 devices, the HMD Arc at several times less the price will still hold up to a great buying option in today's market. In this video, I'll be testing all of the features of this device, and we'll be going from what I think are some of the very best features of this device to the trade-offs. Of course, there are trade-offs that you're going to have to keep in mind. So without further ado, let's get to the video. At just over 100,000 naira, you might expect the brand to take some things out of the box to save costs, but that is not the case here with the HMD Arc. If you get this HMD Arc, you should get this purple box with the phone right on top, some product information, quick start guide, wired headphone, because this phone comes with a headphone jack at the bottom. Get a Type-C charging cable, SIM ejector tool, and the power adapter. Something I haven't seen before is the phone coming with the case installed inside the box. I guess they just did that to let people know to wear their case on their phones as soon as they install their SIM. Actually, this phone also has a SIM card slot and an external memory card slot, which we'll talk about in a bit. The phone also comes pre-installed with a screen protector. We're all familiar with the $1,000 devices that do not have chargers in the box, so it's still nice that you get everything in the box at 10 times less the cost. Okay, let's talk about the price before we get to the other features. HMD has something about the low cost of this device at the top of pretty much every page that they have this device on. Once you check the price tag, it's so easy to see why. On Slot's website, you can get the HMD Arc for just over 100,000 naira before taxes and shipping, 107,200 naira to be exact. The retail price I saw this quoted for was around 108,800 naira, so just around 1,000 naira higher than Slots, and this is just $68. But why does this even exist? The sort of larger focus is that HMD is saying that they still offer all the essential features that the average smartphone user needs despite that price tag. You've seen all the things you get in the box that if you spend more money, you would probably even get less. So let's find out what all these features are. Since we're on the topic of features that I did not expect to see here, it's interesting to see that you still get a 5,000 mAh battery on the HMD Arc. At this price point, most device manufacturers tend to drop that battery capacity to around 4,000 to 4,750 mAh at max. It's quite impressive that it comes with such a large battery at this price range. And considering that the other features are not so demanding on the battery, more on that later in the video, it would easily last the entire day if you start it at full charge. So that is cool. We've had this on standby for a while now and it's still 100%. As for the charging, we ran 2 tests and we'll get to the results later in the video as well. Okay, let's talk about the design. I have to say that this is a properly designed smartphone. It's on par with some designs of some mid-range smartphones. And while it's pretty light at around 190 grams, it doesn't feel cheap in the hands. It's obviously made of plastic, but HMD added some texture on the back of this device that adds some character to how it feels when you rub it. The even cooler thing here is that you get an IP54 rating, which means that it is resistant to a little bit of dust exposure and water splashes. It's definitely not enough to dive with this, but you don't have to be scared that water will destroy your device. And I don't think that this is something that is very common for devices under $100, not to talk $68. Another interesting touch here is that you get a fingerprint reader on the power button that works pretty well. Now here's where things start to change, because as you would expect at this price point, there are trade-offs. There are trade-offs that you have to make when compared to mid-range devices or flagship devices. So let's quickly do a rundown. Now let's talk about the charging speed. While it's great that we're getting a really big battery here for the money, charging might be a bit of a challenge here. Now the charger that comes in the box is a 10-watt charger. In 2025, we now have devices that charge up to 120 watts. So seeing 10 watts here, I knew I had to say something. The main drawback here is that your 5,000 mAh batteries will take a while to get charged up if and when it dies. And by a while, I mean roughly 3 hours. At least that was how long it took based on the test with the charger that came in the box. I then used an external 100-watt charger and it took 2 hours and 50 minutes to fully charge from 0%. Anyway, this was my charging speed. Let me know what you think about it. On the upside, since the battery can last you an entire day, it means you can get away with plugging this at night, going to bed. 3 hours is a lot of time. Just goes by when you're asleep and you wake up with a fully charged battery. Now let's talk about the cameras on the HMD Arc. At $68, there are some things that are the trade-offs that you get. While there are 2 rings on the back of this device, there is only one that is the camera here. The second ring carries the flash and what I believe is a depth sensor for portrait photos that you will take. The rear camera is a 13 megapixel one, while the selfie camera is a 5 megapixel one. In reality, the photos we took here are about as good as you would expect from a sub $100 device based on the category, the megapixel count, and we found that it kind of struggles under low light. To get good photos out of the HMD Arc, you would have to take the photos under the most ideal conditions, so lots of light in the sunlight. So this is a video that we're recording with the HMD Arc in studio lighting. Let me know what you guys think about in the comments below, and as well the audio quality from here. From Lagos to San Francisco for Google I/O, and Google gave me an exclusive look at the new glasses and headsets with Android XR at the Google campus and their headquarters. Okay, let's talk display quality. Now, taking it at face value, the display on the HMD Arc could be much better. However, when you consider the important features that you get here at the cost of this device, it makes a lot more sense. In terms of size, you're getting a 6.52-inch display, which is pretty decent. The resolution is a high definition resolution, 576 by 1280 with a 60Hz refresh rate and a peak brightness of just 460 nits. Now, during use, the performance of this display is about as accurate as the specs. The lower resolution is the first thing that stands out as soon as you power it on. The 60Hz refresh rate is a plus, but this is where the budget really starts to show on the HMD Arc. High quality videos still look good here, but the resolution means that you will barely get the full experience. At 460 nits of peak brightness, using this device in the sun or under bright sunlight will be quite the task, but you can see it very well indoors or at low light, so that is perfectly fine. However, if you're in the market for a display that just about gets the job done and displays what you see well, what you need to see, you have it here. Finally, let's talk about performance. This is one area where a lot of budget devices cover the cost of the device, and the same is the case here. The chipset here is a Unisoc 9863A, which is about as budget as you can get when it comes to processors. It is not designed to carry a crazy performance or carry crazy performance activities as you will see in the rest of the performance specs. It is a get the job done type of chipset. The operating system on the HMD Arc is Android 14 Go edition, which is a lighter version of Android that is used for devices at this level to maintain the great features more efficiently. This means that you can still experience the best of Android without running into lags or crashes. So it's a very streamlined version. Our unit here comes with 4 GB of RAM that you can extend to 8 GB of RAM with virtual RAM from your storage. However, considering that internal storage is capped at 64 GB, you should probably consider that you have only 60 GB or even less of storage to use. But there's good news. You can expand your storage by adding an external memory card at up to 128 GB. Unsurprisingly, network speed is capped at 4G. However, on the bright side, your data plans will last longer and you use up less of your battery because 5G they take battery. With all this in mind, I think that the HMD Arc is a decent device for the money. Yes, there are a bunch of things that would have made this far better, made this a mid-range or a flagship phone or even a better budget phone. But all of those things will add to the price of this device. I think they designed this for people in the market looking for a new budget-friendly device that is durable, functional, and offers a great battery life. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on the HMD Arc in the comment section below. I'm really looking forward to the comments on this one. I haven't used a budget phone like this in a while, and who knows, maybe you may just win one HMD Arc from me in the comments. So let me know, let me be seeing your comments. And since you made it to the end of this video, check out this video here. YouTube thinks you would enjoy it. I'll see you guys in that video.